CapeCast.
Howdy, folks. I'm Eric Williams, and welcome to CapeCast, the official webcast of the Cape Cod Times. We're at Calmus Beach in Hyannis, where I can assure you that kelp is on the way. That's right, this is our seaweed show. Too often underappreciated, left to just strand itself on the beach. Heck, we here at CapeCast thought seaweed was only good for emergency dreadlocks, but apparently there's more to it. We want to find out more about this stuff, and you're about to meet the Sultan of Seaweed.
What can we use seaweeds for? Well, we use seaweeds for a lot of purposes. Some of us were talking earlier that if you like to eat ice cream, Jell-O, chocolate milk, if you use lipstick, if there are certain cosmetics, we have seaweed extracts in all of these products. And that's because seaweeds produce a substance which acts as an emulsifier or a stabilizer. Otherwise, many of these things would be pure liquid.
Well, we're at Cape Cod Community College with Professor Gil Newton, a guy who loves seaweed. And Professor, why is it that the rest of us sort of walk around saying, oh, get out of my way, seaweed, but you have a resonating connection with this goopy sort of stuff?
Oh, I don't know. It probably goes back to when I was a kid growing up on the Cape. I was always interested in anything that you find along the seashore. And I went through the other groups first. I went through the shells and the birds and the fish and all that, and then what was left were the seaweeds. And once I got interested in them and I started learning about their ecology and how fascinating they were, I just developed this passion for them, and I haven't lost it. So I have yet to meet a seaweed that I don't like.
This is called Codium fragile. Sometimes it's called dead man's fingers. This is one of the bad guys. This is one of those seaweeds that is really a nuisance alga. It was introduced into this area several years ago, probably on the ballast of ships. And I don't know if you can see from your seat there, but it's attached almost like a green glob around these slipper snail shells. And you often find it attached to scallops, or in particular, or oysters, or clams, or other animals as well. And the problem with this is two things. It's really heavy, and it tends to weigh down mollusks, particularly scallops, which, as you know, move in the water with that little jet propulsion and enabling them to feed. And it also, the base of it grows right over the filter-feeding siphons of a lot of the shellfish, so they're unable to feed.
Now, it's kind of tough to love something called dead men's fingers.
Yeah, that's appearance.
But I want to change my mindset here. So I'm walking on the beach now, and there's a bunch of different kinds. How should I approach it as I see these different piles of seaweed? What's a good way to enjoy them? How do you get into that seaweed is our friend mindset?
Well, if you're like me and you're interested in looking at diversity, I'm always fascinated with the fact that there's so many different living things inhabiting a particular area. And so put them in a bucket, separate them out, try to learn the names, use my field guide, see if you can't learn what the names of some of these organisms really are, because who knows, you might get hooked as well.
Well, Professor, I understand that some of these seaweeds are extremely helpful, but I got to tell you, I got a chip on my shoulder about mung. I live in Wellfleet, and on the back shore there, when the mung comes in the summer, I've seen people cry on the beach because going in the water is like crawling into lentil soup.
Yeah, mung is caused by a brown alga, which has a couple of names, but Pileella is the most common one, and Ectocarpus, which is related to that, also probably is what you're looking at. And it just undergoes a population explosion that time of the year. The conditions are right, probably enough nutrients, water temperature, and it's a real slimy mess. It's probably the most slimy and filamentous of all the brown algae species. And so, yes, I've experienced it myself.
Professor Newton has recently published Seaweeds of Cape Cod Shores, a handy field guide. It's available at the Cape Cod Museum of Natural History and the Cape Cod National Seashore Salt Pond Visitor Center in Eastham.
CapeCast.